Hello everyone, my name is Sheikh Mohsin. As you can see on your screen, I'm your physics instructor for today's session. Uh, I'm thrilled to have you all on the board, and one of the most important thing uh, that the written quote here, that is everything happens for a reason, and the reason is usually physics. So, what is the main reason to write this quote here? Because we are starting physics syllabus, and uh, we will know the definition of the physics, guys. Whatever happens in the nature, uh, there is a probable reason or reason that we will find the scientific reason that is linked with the physics. Hence we can say that everything in the nature, everything in the nature, study of everything in the nature with the um, rules assigned by the nature or the physical universe is called as what the physics. So today we'll discuss about the competitive exams NEET and NEET syllabus here. It composed of 45 questions, and for that 45 questions we have to cover whole syllabus from NCERT, that for 11th as well as 12th. It approximately 29 to 30 chapters, and composed of 4 books. Physics divided into two basic categories, like one category that is study of physical phenomena with the naked eyes, that is called as what the classical physics. This is the first branch, and the second one is related with the microscopic quantities, that is the modern physics. Classical physics and modern physics are the two parts, are the two categories, or main two branches from which all the branches are established. So what is classical physics? For a very basic fundamental part, you can say that the study of velocity, acceleration, force, motion, all are considered in the classical physics, and modern physics is the study of atomic structure, and all that stuff are considered in the modern physics. So what is the importance of physics in your education? Look, physics is the subject from which student can run. Student always try to run from the physics because they don't know about the basic thing about the physics, that physics can't be understood with English or any other regional language, but the language of physics is mathematics. To study physics will require the basic fundamental knowledge as well as the um, core formulas of the maths, because the statement related with the physics is that the language of physics is mathematics. So um, we will require some of the mathematical formulas. I hope you all are having the fundamental formulas of the mathematics. Now moving in the forward direction for the NEET syllabus. This NEET syllabus is composed of a total the nearly 20 units, which composed of 30 chapters. Like in 11th standard, you will learn about the 10 unit, which composed of 15 chapters, and the approximated time that is required to complete this syllabus in nearly 160 hours, or 160 lectures. And similarly for the 12th syllabus, it is all composed of electromagnetism. Remember, in NEET syllabus, this electromagnetism part is very important. And here from unit 7 to 9, this is the part of modern physics. So this is also required nearly 160 hours. This is approximated time that I have mentioned in this PDF. And if you see the chapter wise weightage for the NEET syllabus, it will looking like the current electricity having one of the most weightage, that is 10 percentage of weightage, that is rotational motion is having 6%, electromagnetic induction having 6%, gravitation and atoms and motion in plane like chapters are having a 3 to 4 percentage of weightage, as well as the electrostatics having 5 percentage of weightage, as you can see on your screen. One of the most important category that I have mentioned here, that is previous paper analysis. You can see all the type of question that is asked in the syllabus, like from the alternating current chapter, easy questions are 4, medium questions are 8, hard is 1, and total 13 chapters. This is the data that I have described here of previous 4 years question papers. So you will see that in the current electricity chapter, in the current electricity. This is current electricity, nearly having 10 percentage of weightage, and total 25 questions are asked. So these are the weightage part. So there are total 8 to 10 unit that we have to study in the 11th standard. I'm moving towards the first unit. That first unit is called as what? The mechanics. What is mechanics, guys? Mechanics is nothing but the study of motion. And a very basic note, mechanics is nothing but a study of motion, and this study of motion can be classified into two parts: study of motion without knowing the reason. If we are not interested to find out the actual reason behind the motion, this is called as the kinematics. And if you want to know the find out the reason behind the motion, that is nothing but your dynamics. For a simplicity, this kinematics is nothing but the study of velocity, acceleration, time, all that stuff. And the dynamics is nothing but what is the reason. Probable reason of the motion is force. Likewise, hence, if you are studying force is equals to mass into acceleration, and all other stuff are can be studied into in the dynamics. So kinematics is nothing but the kinematic equation, as you know that final velocity is equals to initial velocity plus acceleration into time. Final velocity square is equals to initial velocity square plus 2 times of acceleration to displacement, as well as the displacement along any axis is equals to initial velocity into time plus half of acceleration into time square. So these are the basic categories for the mechanics. Today our topic is related with the kinematics, and my topic is projectile motion. First of all, we'll study the projectile motion, and then I will show you the actual simulation for the projectile motion, which makes more interesting is the topic. So stick to the topic then. So what is projectile motion, guys? Whenever object is thrown with some of the velocity in a line or vertical direction, it will move back. If you are throwing the object in upward direction on the earth, then it will go back on the initial position. This is motion in line. But what happens when we throw the object with some of the certain angle with the horizontal axis with the initial velocity u, like this? If the angle is initial velocity u and angle with the horizontal axis is u, then we can say that object is moving like this motion is nothing but motion in 2D, because motion is happening along x-axis as well as y-axis. The total displacement traveled by the body along x-axis is nothing but this is called as range. This is horizontal displacement along x-axis, and again the vertical displacement along y-axis is called as the height. This is x-axis and this is y-axis, and the total time period to achieve this particular concept from initial position to the final position, this time period is considered as t. This is which is called as total time of flight, like this. One more important thing that we have to know before studying the projectile motion is that number one point is, whenever we are studying the projectile motion from ground to ground motion, then we have to consider that the resistive velocity or resistance offered by the air should be neglected. Means air resistance is neglected. Air resistance is neglected. We don't have to consider the air resistance. Like whenever object is moving in this direction, air resistance is acting in opposite direction, we have to neglect the air resistance, which fosters that the horizontal component velocity is not changing. Number two, second is at maximum height. At maximum height, at maximum height, velocity, vertical velocity at maximum height, vertical velocity Vy is equal to 0. And number three, that is very important point related with the projectile motion, is that the time of ascent, like the time required for the object to come from initial position to the maximum height, that is called as time of ascent, is always is equals to time of descent. What is time of descent? That is time required for the object to come from maximum height to the final position, as shown in the figure. Hence these are the same. And total time period, that is time of flight, total time period is nothing but two time of ascent or two time of descent. So this is the basic things that we have to know before studying the projectile motion. And as we know that if component of if the velocity is a vector quantity and vector are not horizontal and vertical, then we have to resolve these vectors. Like this u is not horizontal or vertical, then we have to find out its component. Like this is the rectangular component along x-axis and this is the rectangular component along the y-axis. If this angle is theta, this angle is also theta, hence we can say that this is u cos theta and this is u sin theta, which is comes from basic trigonometry functions that we will study in the mathematical methods in physics. So so these are the basic things that we should know. So there are the motion, this projectile motion is nothing but motion in 2D, and hence there are the kinematic equations along x-axis are different, x-axis, and kinematic equation along y-axis is also different. Like we know that horizontal velocity is not changing, and hence ux means initial velocity along x-axis is u component, cos component, that is u cos theta, and initial velocity along y-axis is nothing but u sin theta. If we put it down the values, that acceleration towards x-axis is 0 because we are neglecting the air resistance, hence acceleration along x-axis is 0, but acceleration along y-axis is due to acceleration due to gravity but in the opposite direction, hence I have to write the minus g here. And vertical velocity along x-axis, the final velocity along x-axis, as acceleration is 0, initial velocity is equals to final velocity, hence u cos theta again. But the final velocity along y-axis is vy, which is equal to initial velocity along y-axis plus acceleration along y-axis into time. So if you put it down the values, then you will see that final velocity along y-axis is nothing but u sin theta minus gt. So the physical in this physical phenomena, there are basic three fundamental uh, physical quantities that we should know, that is time period, range, as well as height. To find out the formula for time period, range, and height, uh, let's see. Number one, time period. First of all, I will find out the time period, that is called as the time of flight for the projectile motion. As we know that time of flight is total time of flight is nothing but time of ascent. So first of all, I will find the time of ascent. From this equation, I know that at maximum height vertical velocity is 0. If you put it down that condition, that velocity along y-axis is equals to u sin theta minus g into time of ascent. If you put it down the values in this equation, that is 0, and this becomes u sin theta and minus gta. So time of ascent, it comes u sin theta divided by g, and I have earlier mentioned that t is equals to total time of flight is equals to 2 times of time of ascent, and hence total time of flight is nothing but 2 times of time of ascent, and it becomes t is equals to 2 times of u sin theta divided by g. This is the formula for time period. As you can see here, there is no relation of mass with the time period, and hence if you throw the different object of different masses with the same velocity and same angle, we can say that the time of flight for both the object are same. Similarly, we'll move towards the second physical quantity, that is range. That is, range is a horizontal displacement or a displacement along x-axis, hence I can say that range is nothing but displacement along x-axis. And if you write down the formula, that is displacement along x-axis is nothing but initial velocity along x-axis into t plus half of acceleration along x-axis into time square. But what we know, that acceleration along x-axis is all 0 here, and hence sx is only remaining, that ux into t. For complete range, we have to find out, we have to consider the total time period. So sx is, what is sx? Sx is range here, that we have to find here, and ux is what? U cos theta, and time period. Now time period, that is 2 u sin theta, 2 u sin theta divided by g. So if you solve this equation, what you will get, that is u into u is u square, and 2 sin theta and cos theta remaining, 2 sin theta cos theta, and see what is magic here, that this is the mathematical formula, that 2 sin theta and cos theta is nothing but sin 2 theta, and hence the formula becomes r is equals to u square sin 2 theta divided by g. So this is the final formula of the range. uh, Now the third one, that is height. Height is vertical velocity, sorry, height is vertical displacement of the object maximum. That is number 3, height. To find out the height, again I'm considering that vertical velocity is nothing but 0 at the maximum height. So put it down the value in this equation, that is final velocity square is equals to initial velocity along y-axis square plus 2 times of acceleration along y-axis into displacement along y-axis, that is nothing but the height. So at a maximum height, at this condition is for the maximum height, okay, at maximum height, that this is 0, which is equals to initial velocity means u square sine square theta, as the square function is there, and minus 2 times of ay is g minus g, and h is remaining here. So the formula for the h is looking like u square sine square theta divided by 2 times of g. So as you can see here, all the three formulas are in the form of 2 u sine theta as well as g. So there is a shortcut to write all the formulas. Most of the time students are confused in exam, where is 2, where to put u square, where to put sine square or sine 2 theta. Then this is the basic fundamental things, like put it on the time period here, a range here as well as height here, and remember that u sine theta is the term of numerator and g is the term of denominator. Again, u sine theta is a term of numerator and g is a term of denominator. Again, u sine theta is a term of numerator and g again for the denominator. The main function is decided by how you write 2. Like if you write 2 in front side, then this formula becomes for the time period. If you write 2 in the middle one, then 2 in the middle one, and again have to write the 2 for the u square as well. Don't write 2 u square here because 2 is in the front side, and again in both the terms, in this both the terms, 2 is in the numerator. Now write the 2 in denominator, and here is also square, here is also square. This is the formula, this is the final formula for the time period, range as well as height. So there are the special cases related with the projectile motion, that if we have to throw the object with a large range, so we have to throw the object with the horizontal axis at an angle of 45 degree. So case number one, what happens when object is thrown with the 45 degree with the horizontal? The answer is what? The range covered is maximum. The maximum range can be achieved by throwing the object with the 45 degree. And always remember that if you put it on the value, that is r is equals to u square sine of 2 theta divided by g. So if you put it down, theta is equals to 45, then 2 times of 45 90 degree, and sine 90 is equals to 1, and hence u square divided by g is the final formula. And similarly for height, if you put it on the formula for height here, like height here, then this is u square sine square theta divided by 2 times of g. Put it on the value of theta is 45 here, and sine 45 is 1 by root 2, and here is also square, hence 1 by root 2 square means 1 by 2, and divided by 2g. So the formula becomes u square divided by 4g. By comparing these equations, what you can see, that what you can conclude, that height of the projectile at 45 degrees Celsius is 45 degree angle is range divided by 4. This is true. I will show you this proof with the simulation. The case number two is what? When object is having if the object is thrown with two different angles, like if that angles are complementary. What are the complementary angles? Which is having addition 90 degree. Like if I'm throwing the object with 30 degree with the initial velocity u, it will cover the range r. And similarly, if I throw the object with the same velocity, then same velocity, but this angle is 30 degree and another angle I'm covering, that is 60 degree. What you will see the magic, that range is same. This can be achieved with the mathematical formulas as well as the simulation. So let's move towards the simulation part. Like this is the projectile motion simulation I'm covering here in the interactive simulations by FET. So this is our projectile motion lab. Let's consider I'm approving the here three concept, like whenever we are throwing the object with 70 with 7 this 45-degree like this, it will cover the maximum range like this. No any range can cover the range of 45-degree. Okay, or you can, if you can check, if I'm throwing the angle with the 65-degree, it unable to achieve the range of the 45-degree. Or you can say, if I'm throwing the with 30-degree, it is again unable to achieve the range equal to the 45-degree range. This is the property number one. And 45-degree, one of the case in 45-degree, that range as well as height having ratio 1:4. Like the complete range is nearly 33.03 meter here, and height is 16 point, the height is 8.26 meter. It shows that that is 8 fours are nearly 30 to 33. Hence the answer is correct for whenever object is thrown with the 45-degree, the total range covered is 4 times of height. This is one of the fundamental proof. Again, the second one, that whenever object is thrown with nearly 76-degree or 75-degree, the range is equals to what the height, like this. Look at this thing. If I'm throwing the object with this, what is the range that is covered here? Look, that is 15.51 meter, and height at this point is again 15.55 meter, which is nearly equal to same, which again having the proof of whenever object is thrown with the theta, that is tan inverse of 4 or nearly 76-degree, it will cover range is equals to height. And the third one, whenever object is thrown with complementary angles, like consider I'm throwing the object with 30-degree here. So this range is 28.6 meter, and if I'm throwing, the complementary angle for the 30 is 60-degree. So if we throw the object maintaining same velocity, the range covered by that particular object is same, as you can see on your screen. This is the simulations related with the projectile motion. And that's it for today, guys. Thank you.